Okay, we're back, and we last left off looking at an equation that showed income equal to uh, consumer spending plus savings plus taxes. So this is basically what anybody can use with their income they earn here. They could either spend it, save it, or pay taxes. Now, let's compare these two equations. Over on the left-hand side, we've got the income equals spending, and over here we have income equals spending, including the savings and taxes. And so what we can do is we could rearrange this and we could set them equal to each other because as you can see, they're both equal to income. Why? So we're simply making them equal. And then what we can do is we can rearrange it a little bit further, isolate the trade balance over here, and then we see we have this side, which is going to be savings. This is private savings, and here's the trade balance. Now, if this is positive, this is government savings. If the government is spending less than they're taking in revenues, this will be positive. So this is private savings, this is public savings, this is investment spending. So if private savings S and public savings T minus G are over here, then the current account balance is also the difference between the country's savings and the country's investment. Country savings and country's investment. So thus, the current account deficit, if it's negative, well, meaning it's a deficit, it means the country is saving less than it invests. And this is a classic example or a way to demonstrate that when a country runs a trade deficit, it's got to be financed in some way, either by public savings or private savings. Now look at this, the balance of payments here. This is an example of the balance of payments, and you can see we've got the current account and we've got the capital and financial accounts down here. And basically this tracks the interaction one country has with the rest of the world. And this is 2011 data. And you can see that the United States ran a rather large trade deficit, or current account deficit, most of which was trade. And in order to pay for that, we needed a large flow of money coming in to finance that. And here we see that over in the capital account. Now the deficit in the current account must be matched by a surplus in the capital account. And so here, if an American bought a case of French wine, an import, worth $200, as it heads out, as payment heads out, we will log this in the current account debit account right over here. So basically, that is an import coming into the United States. Once the French winery receives the dollars for this for the product that is sold to the Americans, it has to do something with those dollars. If the winery decides to deposit its U.S. dollars in a bank, then that deposit will show up in the current account, capital account, excuse me. So that entry right here is foreigners buying U.S. assets, and here foreigners buying right here is foreign governments buying U.S. assets, and this is foreigners, non-government foreigners buying U.S. assets. And over here on the debit side, this is the U.S. government buying foreign assets, and this is the U.S. citizens buying foreign assets. So even if the winery exchanges its dollars for euros, doesn't do anything with it, the bank holding the dollars will still have to do something with those dollars, and they will eventually be logged in the capital account as a credit. So here we could see that the trade, this is a video that I have in the PowerPoint that you could watch. It's a very good PowerPoint video, but basically it's showing the merchandise trade and how China used to trade or export, just basically trade a lot less than the United States, and now its trade sector is larger than the United States. And so, when you understand the balance of payment systems, this is going to help you help understand why governments like to attract foreign investment into their country, in foreign direct investment. And many governments will try to take an active role to try to get foreign direct investment in, because this helps affect the balance of payments in a positive way for a particular country. Host countries get a balance of payments boost when they attract foreign direct investment inflows into the country, because it registers as a credit in the capital account. And with local content requirements, the FDI can lower imports, thereby reducing imports which are debits in the current account. So this is a kind of an in-class example that I have, which we won't be going over right now. And here are some current account balances or trade balances as a percentage of the economy. Now, before I go through all of these, it's very important to know that there is a magic data point when a trade deficit or trade surplus grows beyond 5% of GDP. You start to see an effect it has on other parts of the economy, primarily exchange rates. When a country runs a rather large trade deficit, when I say large, greater than 5% of the economy, you start to see their currency depreciate against its trading partners. And when you see a country run a trade surplus greater than 5%, you start to see that country's currency appreciate against its trading partners. And so you can see France ran a rather large trade surplus at one point. Well, not large, it's still under 5%, but it has gone in trade deficit territory in the last 5 or 6 years. Germany has been racking up an impressive trade surplus. Most of this trade surplus is with other European countries, by the way. Iceland, now you can see why Iceland had such a big problem in 2005, 2006. They were running huge trade deficits, which had to be financed in some way. And when the credit crunch hit, they were unable to finance those trade deficits, so it shrank considerably. Ireland ran a large trade deficit before they went into a recession. Now they're in slight surplus mode. Italy, not too large, but they've been running trade deficits for quite some time, but not especially large. Japan running decent trade surpluses for quite some time. Korea, trade surpluses, modest, with the exception of this spike we have in the late 1990s. And Spain, rather large trade surpluses, which has shrunk somewhat since the big recession that we had in 2008. Turkey, I can't explain this. This is a huge increase in trade deficits. UK, trade deficits. And what we're going to do after this, we're going to talk more about this in a second.